we're going to dovetail into my January stamp release because we saw one of those stamps in that kit, and that is the About Last Month 2024 stamp set. So every year, I think we are now, this would be 22, 23, 24. For the last 3 of 5 years since I've been doing this, I have had a custom stamp that's part of the kit. This is the third because this is 2024. So this 6x8 stamp set is a mixture of lots of fun things. You have the handwritten months, so that's my handwriting. You have a little block up here that you can use for your little, like for example there, okay? You have little icons. You have numbers. You also have handwritten numbers, month in review, about last month, years here, a definition, lots of little word strips, and then that solid block. That solid block is meant to be used or can be used behind that little area there. So an example of that would be like that one, okay? So I stamped in a dark pink and then used that block behind it in a lighter pink. So just kind of a play on kind of my little in the box and outlining that I do in a lot of things. So that is part of that year in review kit, but that is also sold a la carte. That is one of my new January release stamp sets. Hi, Kathy, nice to see you. Joe Disney fan said, love the 2024 charm. An easy way to tell which year it is, assuming you will create a new charm for each year too. I probably should, right? I've never done a year charm before. That was part of this project kit, but people have seemed to like it so far. So, all right, let me get those back down there so we don't get confused. So that, I just showed you kind of an example of that. And there's another little example on the back there of what I did with some of the different parts of that stamp set. So that is 2024, about last month. All right, next up, I have 5 new stamps as part of this January release. As a heads up, the plan for 2024 is to do a new stamp release every other month. So that was January. There will be one in March. There will be one in May. There will be one in July. There will be one in September and one in November. All right, next up is the What a Day stamp set. This is another 6x8 stamp set. So a mixture again of handwritten words. Let me pull this one out. This may be a little bit easier to see. A mixture of handwritten words. You have the months. You have numbers 0 through 9. And when I say 9, you turn the 6 upside down for the 9. You have your Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday right there. You have your TH, RD, ND, and ST. So if you're doing like the 12th, you have 1, 2, TH. You have a little rating here. And then you have some other words. Great day, this happened, blah, and then some word strips. So here is an example of that stamp set in use. You may have been with me last, I guess 2 weeks ago when we were listing. This is an example of that stamp set in use. So the whole idea behind What a Day is to just pick a day and document it. In this case, this was the 19th of January, and I just made a list of basically what I did that day. So this is how I will be doing the Today Looks Like This. So I've been doing Today Looks Like This once a month for the last year. And this is now the way I will be doing Today Looks Like This going forward. Now that I have a stamp set, What a Day, okay? So that is a list that I will be doing every month on our Saturday sessions using that stamp set. So kind of a time capsule, right? This type of list, I always think, oh my goodness, how cool would it be if I had a list like this when I was in high school, or when I was in college, or when I was a new mom, or when I was a young working professional, or how cool would it have been if I had a list like this that my mom did in like 1978, or my grandmother did in 1945. So just kind of a fun little time capsule. And that is the What a Day stamp set. Also part of the January release. All right, next up, we have this guy. This is the Now This is the Now Boarding alphabet. Okay, so that is a 4x6 stamp set. It has 37 stamps. You have your alphabet, you have your numbers, and then you have this little title there that says Now Boarding. So I have not used this yet. So I can't necessarily show you an example, but I can show you an example that somebody did for me on the back of the packaging. But this is called Now Boarding because these little letters resemble an airline departure board. So these would be really fun to use when you travel or documenting your travels if you wanted to do a title or if you wanted to do like a 3-digit airport code or something like that. The other thing that I think is kind of fun about this is also reminds me of the old digital alarm clocks, although I don't think they weren't really digital. The kind that had the little numbers that would flip. So numbers kind of remind me of that too. So if you wanted to do some kind of time stamp on something, it would be fun to use those too. All right, so there is the back of that packaging, just to kind of give you an example of how those little letters are used in that title for Greece. Okay. Also part of the January release. Then we have 2 little mini icon stamp sets. Jane, thank you. Jane said, love that Now Boarding stamp set. Yeah, I foresee using that quite a bit. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. 2 new mini icon stamp sets. So I now have 5 new, not 5 new, but I have 5 mini icon stamp sets. Mini icon stamp sets are little 3x3 stamp sets, so just little teeny stamp sets that always will follow the same format. You see spring in my left hand and you see love in my right hand. They always have 12 little mini icons and then a definition. So for example, this one says, this is spring. It says spring, nature's way of celebrating new life and beauty everywhere. Okay. Now, the one for the love one says, love is all you need, but a little chocolate now and then doesn't hurt. All right, so just fun little mini icons. These are larger than the bullet stamps, but still they're pretty mini. Kind of a quick example of those guys. Don't mind that my traveler's notebooks are here, this one, that I'm pulling. Oh, what did I do? I had that there for a reason. I was going to show you some examples where I had used fall and Christmas, just to give you a feel for those. And of course, I pulled that one out too early. That's okay, we can find it. This entire traveler's notebook insert is not connected to the cover. It is not connected to the cover because it went out to be photographed for the idea book. So now I need to restitch them back together. Here is an example of one of the mini icons. These were from the fall. These little leaves are from the fall mini icon stamp set, so you can kind of get a feel. They're a little bit larger than our little bullet stamps, but just kind of a nice little, I just did some purple leaves to kind of break up my list there. This set is from the winter mini icon. So sometimes you just need something a little bit bigger than our bullet stamps, but we don't want something too big because we're working in kind of a small scale here, right? So those were from winter. And then this little guy is from holiday. So those little tiny, not tiny because they're not tiny, those little ornaments were from the holiday mini icon stamp set. So that'll kind of give you an idea of how those little mini icons could be used, at least on your list, right? I haven't done anything yet with spring or love because those are the 2 brand new ones, but we'll be doing something with them soon. Absolutely. Oh, here's one more. There is another example of the holiday mini icons. So they're just nice little size, but larger than our bullets. So for example, those little yellow bees that you see on the left, those would be like the size of our bullet stamp sets. And then here on the right, those are the mini icons. Okay. All right. Now, what was this? Oh, here's one more. Here's an example of how I used some of the mini icons from the fall stamp set again. So sometimes if I want to add maybe a little bit more, maybe like a 2-liner instead of a 1-liner, that's where I'm kind of using the mini icons because they're just a little bit larger. right? So you just saw winter and holiday and fall. And now we're taking another gander at spring on my left and love on my right. So super fun. Spring is, you've got a couple that are Easter, a little Easter bunny and then an Easter egg, but everything else is super neutral in terms of a flower, a little sun and cloud, butterfly, ladybug, a birdhouse, a bumblebee. So super kind of can be used for lots of different things. And then your little love. All right. So that wraps up my January stamp release. And those are all shipping now.